Okay, so you have had a chance to fly your hoop flyers, and you may have competed to see how far you could have flown it, and I hope that they went well for you. But the main question that I was asking you, though, was how does flying a hoop flyer teach us and help us to answer the question, how do birds fly? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And in doing that, we're going to talk about 4 different forces that help objects fly. So these forces are called thrust, lift, drag, and weight. Now we already kind of talked about lift. If you remember, we had a activity where we took a slip of paper and we cut it kind of just a little slip like this, and then we taped it onto a pencil. And once you do that, you can really see lift working. If I do it quickly here. So what we did is we took this little paper like this, and we blew on the top. And as you can see, the paper lifts up. When we push air and make it go fast, faster moving air pushes down less and it has less pressure on an object than the slower moving air on the bottom, which means that the object rises up. So that's lift. But there's 3 other forces that we have to talk about. The first force happens on our hoop glider when we throw it, when we are adding force to it to make it go faster. This is called thrust. Now when we are throwing it, we are thrusting it forward, and this added force helps it to move. So for a bird, their thrust isn't actually, no one throws them or they don't have propellers, but what they do is they use their wings, and that's why they flap their wings. They push down and push against the air pressure below them, and this gives them enough thrust to keep accelerated and keep moving forward. They also do something kind of fun that you might not have noticed before, but they actually kind of rotate and then push down. So there's actually a rotating motion to their flapping. It's not just up and down like this, but kind of forward and down. I would suggest going and watching a bird outside and see if you can observe that they're not just pushing down, but actually rotating forward. Now, the opposite of thrust, something else is happening that's kind of the enemy of thrust, and that's called drag. Now, on our hoop glider, this hoop right here is bigger than this one. And because it's bigger, it creates a force that's actually dragging and working the opposite way of when we, when we thrust it. Now, birds have less drag, though, than our hoop glider will because they're aerodynamic. And aerodynamic is a big word, but if you don't know what it is, it basically means that they have a shape, and the shape of their body helps them to not have a lot of resistance to the air that they're moving through. Now, the last force that we have is weight. So weight is a force that is pulling this object totally to the center of the earth. The good thing is that our hoop glider really is light and doesn't have a lot of weight. This is because we have a hollow, our straw is hollow, and so our frame is nice and hollow and light. In the same way, birds actually have hollow bones, which is pretty wild and crazy, but they have hollow bones that help them to have less weight. Birds are so light, and so this force is not acting that strong, and that means that they can fly and go higher up in the air, and lift works a lot better for them than it will for us. We are pretty heavy, and so if we try and just flap, we can't really get anywhere because the force on us is way stronger than the lift that we'd be making. So we have thrust, lift, drag, and weight. I have a couple things maybe for you to think about. Try and go outside and see if you can watch birds and try and figure out if you can see these forces and see them, like I said before, flapping their wings kind of more forward. But also throw your hoop glider a bit too and see what happens when you use less thrust. Or try and manipulate your glider too. So add more weight. Put a paper clip and tape a paper clip to each side. or add more of the hoops around it. Please send me some of your explorations and different things that you've tried, and also send me questions if you want to. But yeah, that's basically it. Have a great time flying.